Ever feel like, the unsung hero? The one behind the scenes, making tech work flawlessly, but nobody sees the magic.
Right, right, like a wizard.
Exactly. Well, get ready to meet those wizards because today's deep dive is all about system configurators.
And let me tell you, it's a career path that's, well, it's on fire right now. So many companies need custom software these days, and that means skilled system configurators. They're in high demand.
High demand usually equals good pay, right? Plus, we're talking cutting edge tech here. This is definitely piquing my interest.
You and me both.
So, to guide our deep dive today, we're turning to RoleCatcher's Career Guide. They've got some incredible insights.
It's a gold mine of information. We're going way beyond the typical job description stuff. This is like the inside scoop.
Love it. So, RoleCatcher, they call these folks, get this, tailors of computer systems, which I have to say, that's pretty spot on.
Right. It really gets to the heart of what they do. Think of it like this. A tailor takes fabric and makes a custom suit. A system configurator takes the hardware, the software, and shapes it to fit a specific company's needs.
Okay, so it's not just knowing how to build a computer, it's knowing how that computer can solve actual business problems.
Exactly. Let's say a company wants to streamline their online orders, make it super smooth for customers. A system configurator would be the one to analyze their current setup and then build a software solution that works with their inventory, payments, like the whole thing.
So they're kind of like tech whisperers, right? Translating between what the business needs and what the technology can do.
I like that, yeah. Because honestly, a lot of it is about communication. You're working directly with clients, so you have to be able to explain complex things in a way that makes sense, even if they're not tech people.
I bet that builds a lot of trust too.
Oh, for sure. A system configurator who can explain the why, manage expectations, be there for support, that's huge for client relationships.
Speaking of huge, let's talk about the perks of this career path because RoleCatcher really emphasized the high demand and earning potential, which is, always good to hear. But what else makes this a good path?
Well, you're always learning. The tech world changes so fast, and you're right there on the cutting edge. It's exciting.
I can imagine, especially for people who, love getting their hands on the newest gadgets, the latest software. But gotta be real, every job has its downsides, right? What should aspiring system configurators be ready for?
Definitely. Because the tech is always changing, you have to be comfortable with constantly learning. Like what you learn today might be old news tomorrow. You gotta be adaptable.
So, not a career for someone who likes things to stay the same. Got it. I'm also thinking there's probably a decent amount of stress involved, deadlines, unexpected problems, that kind of thing.
Oh yeah. You gotta think on your feet, stay calm under pressure. Being good at figuring out what went wrong and fixing it fast is essential.
Makes sense. Rollcatcher also mentioned that some of the work can get a little repetitive. I imagine those problem-solving skills really come in handy on those days.
100%.
Yeah.
Especially when you're first starting out. Routine updates, basic troubleshooting, lots of documentation, that can feel repetitive. But you're building a foundation. Those are the stepping stones.
So you're mastering those core skills, getting ready for the more complex projects.
Exactly. Plus, you never know when a seemingly simple task will throw you a curveball. It keeps you sharp.
So even the repetitive stuff is a learning experience.
Totally. Every little thing you do adds to your overall knowledge of how systems work, how to optimize them.
This is great info for anyone who's, just starting to explore the world of system configuration. But before everyone runs off to Google how to build a supercomputer, let's talk about how to actually get started. What are some practical steps?
RoleCatcher really emphasizes like hands-on experience. They say dive in, experiment, configure your own computer, play around with the command line, get comfortable.
I like it. Not being afraid to experiment, make a few mistakes along the way. It's all part of the process, right?
It is. And once you've got a good foundation, internships or even entry-level IT jobs, those are invaluable.
Okay, internships, entry-level jobs. What about someone who's even earlier in the process? Rollcatcher had a really neat suggestion, volunteering.
Right. Offer your tech skills to a nonprofit. You build your portfolio, get real experience, and help your community. It's a win-win-win.
I love that. Okay, so we've covered getting your hands dirty, but let's talk about the specific skills that make a system configurator really stand out. Rollcatcher breaks it down into must-haves and core abilities. Let's start with those must-haves. What are we talking about here?
These are the essentials, the non-negotiables. You need in-depth knowledge of computer hardware and software. You need to be fluent in at least one scripting language, like Python or PowerShell. Those are great for automating tasks, by the way. And you have to have a solid grasp of networking protocols.
Okay, that last one, networking protocols. Break that down for me a little bit. What does that mean in the context of system configuration?
Sure. Let's say you're setting up a system for a company that depends on cloud-based apps. You need to know how their network talks to the cloud, how to optimize that connection, how to fix it if it breaks.
So it's more than just getting a computer online, it's understanding how all those computers talk to each other.
Exactly. And that's where those scripting skills come in handy. Imagine you need to push a software update to 50 computers. Knowing Python can let you automate that, which saves so much time.
That is a lifesaver. Okay, we've covered the must-have technical skills, so what about those core abilities that RoleCatcher mentioned? Those seem like the things that make someone truly exceptional.
You're right, they're crucial. They talk about reading comprehension, which, let's face it, you'll be reading a lot of technical documents. But it's also about critical thinking, active listening, using good judgment.
So not just following instructions, but understanding why, asking questions, making good decisions based on the situation.
Yes, and remember, you're often the bridge between the tech folks and the non-tech folks. You need to listen to what clients need, turn that into a tech solution, and then explain that solution clearly.
This is giving such a clear picture of what it takes to succeed in this field. But I'm curious, how do these skills play out in a real career path? What does it look like to climb the ladder as a system configurator?
Well, RoleCatcher lays out 4 main levels: junior, intermediate, senior, and lead. Each level comes with its own set of responsibilities and opportunities, and the higher you go, the more interesting it gets.
Ooh, I love a good level up moment. But for all those details, you'll have to join us for part 2 of our deep dive. Welcome back to the deep dive, everyone. Last time, we were just getting to the exciting part, the System Configurator career ladder.
Right. We covered those essential skills, but now it's time to see how they translate into actual career progression. Because trust me, the higher you climb, the more rewarding it gets.
I am all about those level up moments. RoleCatcher breaks it down into 4 main stages: junior, intermediate, senior, and lead. Let's imagine someone who's just starting out, that junior configurator. What are they doing day to day?
Okay, so picture this. You're on a team, you've got these more experienced configurators showing you the ropes. You're helping set up systems, maybe tweaking some basic scripts, and you're becoming the master of troubleshooting those common user issues.
It's like the ground level, getting those foundational skills down.
Exactly. You're learning how things work in that specific company, getting to know their systems inside and out, and honestly documenting everything like crazy. Good documentation, essential in this field.
Oh, I bet. Especially when you're trying to remember how you fixed that weird problem a few weeks back. Okay, so you've put in the time, you've mastered the basics, now you're moving up to intermediate configurator. What changes at this stage?
This is where you start taking on more responsibility. You're handling more complex configurations on your own, solving tougher problems, maybe even leading some smaller projects.
So more autonomy, higher stakes, you're becoming the go-to person for certain things.
Yeah, exactly. You might even be training those junior configurators now. You're a valuable asset to the team.
I bet those collaboration skills we talked about earlier, those become even more important at this level. You're probably working closely with other IT specialists on bigger projects.
All the time. You might be working with network admins to make sure a new system integrates smoothly, or with security analysts to implement, the latest security protocols. It's all about teamwork at this level.
All right, time to reach for the top. Senior system configurator. What does it take to get there?
At this point, you're not just configuring systems, you're often leading those configuration efforts. This could mean designing complex solutions for whole departments, mentoring those junior team members, even developing company-wide standards for configuration.
So you're thinking big picture now, understanding how everything fits together, how to make sure those systems are scalable, secure, the whole 9 yards.
100%. Senior configurators, they're problem solvers, they're innovators, and they're often the ones bridging the gap between the tech teams and the business folks.
They're the ones who can explain why that server upgrade is so important in a way that even the CEO can understand. Now, for those who are true leaders, there's that final rung on the ladder: lead system configurator. What sets these folks apart?
The lead configurators, they're the strategists of the system world. They're not just managing systems anymore, they're managing teams of configurators. They set the technical direction, make sure everything aligns with the company's overall goals.
So they need a deep understanding of not just the technology, but also the business side of things, budgets, resources, all of that.
Absolutely. They're making those high-level decisions that impact the entire IT infrastructure. They're often working directly with the CIO, the CTO.
Talk about pressure. Okay, before we blow everyone's minds with all this career potential, let's bring it back down to earth for a second and talk about the job search itself. RoleCatcher isn't just a career guide, it's a job searching tool too, right?
That's what's so great about it. They give you all this amazing information, and then they're like, okay, now let's help you actually land your dream job,
I love that. And one of their coolest features has got to be this Copilot AI. It almost sounds too good to be true.
right? It's like having your own personal AI career coach.
Okay, break it down for me. How does this Copilot AI actually work?
So imagine you're looking at all these job postings, each one with its own list of requirements, qualifications. It's overwhelming. Copilot AI swoops in,
Yeah.
analyzes all those descriptions, figures out exactly what those employers are looking for.
So it's like deciphering the code of those job postings.
Exactly. But it goes deeper than that. It then helps you tailor your resume and cover letter to highlight the specific skills and experience that are most relevant to each job.
So instead of sending out a generic resume and hoping for the best, you're creating a super targeted application.
Yes, you're standing out from the crowd, which is crucial these days.
Absolutely. And it's not just resumes, right? RoleCatcher also uses AI to give feedback on interview practice.
They do. They have this huge database of like over 120,000 practice interview questions, all tailored to different roles and industries. And get this, you can actually record yourself answering these questions, and their AI will analyze your performance and give you personalized feedback.
Whoa, that's wild. It's like having a virtual interview coach analyzing your body language, your tone of voice, everything.
Exactly. It helps you catch those little things you might not even notice, like are you using too many filler words? Are you making eye contact? Even in a virtual interview. It's amazing.
That's incredible. Okay, so RoleCatcher has got your back when it comes to writing your application, acing those interviews, but now let's get back to the heart of it all. What kinds of questions can you actually expect in a system configurator interview?
Well, RoleCatcher has tons of examples, and they're incredibly valuable because they give you a glimpse into what hiring managers are looking for. And they even categorize them by seniority level, which is super helpful.
Right, so we've got our interview outfit picked out, our lucky pen is charged. Let's talk about those interview questions. RoleCatcher gave some really good examples.
They did. They did. And remember, it's not just about knowing the right answer. It's about how you think, how you solve problems, showing your passion for this kind of work.
Right, it's a conversation, not an interrogation. So let's say you're going for that entry-level junior configurator role. What kind of question might you get?
Well, they might start with a classic like, tell me about your experience with system configuration. Seems simple, but it's your chance to shine, even if you haven't had a formal configurator job before.
So this is where you talk about those personal projects, right? Like, I haven't built a network for a Fortune 500 company, but I did spend a weekend setting up a home server for my family. And here's what I learned.
Exactly. Employers love to see that initiative, that you're willing to get your hands dirty and learn. Even talking about how you troubleshoot your own tech issues, that shows you can think critically.
Okay, let's level up. Mid-level configurator, what kind of curveball might they throw at you?
They might ask something like, how do you ensure systems are properly configured and updated? Now they're looking for your process, your attention to detail, the best practices you've learned.
I'd definitely mention those configuration management tools that RoleCatcher talked about, maybe even a specific example. Like, at my last job, we used X tool to automate software updates across hundreds of computers, which made things way more efficient.
Perfect. You're not just talking the talk. You're showing them you can walk the walk.
Okay, time for the big leagues. Senior level. These questions are going to be tough, right?
Is that ready?
Yeah.
RoleCatcher gives this example. How do you ensure system configurations comply with industry standards? This goes beyond just the technical stuff. Now you're talking security protocols, data privacy, the whole shebang.
You have to show that you're not just a tech whiz, but you're also a professional who understands the rules and why they matter.
Exactly. This is where you really demonstrate that big picture thinking.
It's amazing how much we've covered in this deep dive. We went from scripting languages to managing teams and leading the way.
And don't forget about all those amazing resources that RoleCatcher provides, from AI resume help to interpractice. They're with you every step of the way.
They really do make it seem less intimidating, which is great. Okay, before we wrap up, one last question. If someone's listening to this, maybe they're not sure about a career in system configuration, what's the one thing, that one aha moment that might convince them?
For me, it always comes back to that idea of being a tailor of computer systems. It's so much more than just plugging things in or writing code. It's about taking technology and making it work for people.
I love that. You're not just configuring systems, you're configuring solutions.
Exactly. You're giving businesses the tools they need, you're helping organizations run smoothly, maybe even making someone's day a little bit easier.
And if that sounds rewarding, well, maybe system configuration is the path for you. That's a wrap on our deep dive into the world of system configurators. A huge thank you to RoleCatcher for the incredible resources and to you, our listeners, for joining us.
Until next time, happy configuring, everyone.